Welcome to Signature TV News. I am Barry Kumo Ado. In the headlines, INEC says security concerns caused postponement of Enugu rerun election. Organized labor threatens to resume strike Tuesday after rejecting 62,000 naira minimum wage. Federal government to sanction hospitals that turn down patients on emergency. Indian Prime Minister Modi begins third consecutive term. Kane says England will learn from Iceland defeat. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says that a rescheduled rerun election for the Enugu South 1 state constituency was postponed for security reasons. The INEC resident electoral commissioner in the state, Dr. Chukwuemeka Chukwu, said in an interview in Enugu that a rerun election, which was fixed after stakeholders' engagements to hold on June 8, would hold on a later date to be communicated by the commission. Chukwu said the scheduled rerun election was postponed and duly communicated to all stakeholders with a clear reason for the postponement, and expressed surprise that all sorts of unfounded falsehood and rumors were being peddled against the commission. The Labour Party candidate for the State House of Assembly, Bright Ngene, was declared winner of the March 18, 2023 election and was sworn in, but the election was nullified by the tribunal for being inconclusive. This is the third attempt by INEC to hold the election. As early as 7 a.m. on Saturday, voters had converged on the affected polling unit, but no official of INEC was seen at the venue, with the Labour Party candidate for the election in Ghana, who was at a polling centre, expressing dismay over the development. On his part, the People's Democratic Party PDP candidate, Mr. Sam Ngene, however, said the postponement was duly communicated to his party. Meanwhile, the Labour Party candidate for the State House of Assembly seat, Bright Ngene, says he is still confident that he will defeat his opponent anytime the election is held. Ngene, who spoke to correspondent Clinton Okolo in Enugu, also expressed confidence in the INEC's resident electoral commissioner in the state, Dr. Chukwuemeka Chukwu, to conduct a successful election in the state. He, however, appealed to the electoral umpire to be unbiased and ensure a transparent process that will respect the will of the people.
What benefits out of it? Part of what we are passing through in this nation is still because of, unhealthy election. I'm very honest and sincere about it. So I'm abundantly confident to take the date. Lepo is on ground. The whole one that exists is all for level. Let it be fair. I will defeat Sam Ngene in his own polling unit. It's not exaggeration. It's a reality.
On the defection of some members of the Enugu State House of Assembly, elected on the platform of the Labour Party to the ruling PDP, Ngene said the defections were not based on principle. He assured that he remains a loyal member of the Labour Party.
Principle. Beyond politics, you must have your principle, even as a person. Because in all this issue of political interest and all that, it makes us to be colorless. And it's really beating so much on our democracy, where people don't have value again for what they stand for, what to believe for. Today you are white, today you are black. There is no principle, there's no red line, where you cannot cross another. So I don't know about others, but I'm a man of principle. So it's not just all about politics and what I think I can gain. It's all about my value in life, what I stand for, and standing for that, not compromising, looking left or right and all that. That is all about that. So to me, I'm standing where I'm standing.
The organized labor says it will not accept 62,000 naira or 100,000 naira as minimum wage for Nigerian workers, describing the amounts as starvation wage. It insisted on 250,000 naira being its latest demand at the last meeting of the tripartite committee on minimum wage on Friday as a living wage for an average Nigerian worker. The Assistant General Secretary of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, Chris Onyeka, who spoke in a media chat, said a one-week grace period given to the federal government last Tuesday would expire by midnight of Tuesday, June 11, 2024. It said if the federal government and National Assembly fail to act on the demands of workers by tomorrow, the organs of the NLC and the Trade Union Congress, TUC, would meet to decide on the resumption of a nationwide industrial action, which was relaxed last week. The unions, according to him, have never contemplated 100,000 naira, let alone 62,000 naira, insisting that they still considered 250,000 naira enough concession to the government and the other partners based on realities of the marketplace. Onyeka urged the federal government and the National Assembly to look at demands and send in an executive bill to the National Assembly to enable it come up with a national minimum act that meets our demands. The ECOWAS court has dismissed an application filed by former National Security Advisor, retired Colonel Sambo Dasuki, praying the court to compel Nigeria to enforce its judgment delivered in his favor on October 4, 2016. Justice Segun Kuruma, the judge rapporteur, while delivering judgment in Abuja on Dasuki's application for enforcement, dismissed it on the grounds that the court lacked jurisdiction to entertain or enforce the earlier judgment. Kuruma said the court was guided by a laid-down procedure regarding the enforcement of its judgment as enshrined in the community law and the proper party to institute an enforcement failure claim. Justice Friday Moke declared the government's action against Dasuki as arbitrary, unlawful, and a mockery of democracy and the rule of law, and a violation of local and international rights to liberty. The court had further held that the government's actions violated Dasuki's rights under the African Charter of Human and People's Rights and International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, and ordered the release of all the seized properties of the applicant, as well as the payment of 15 million naira damages to him. Earlier, at a hearing of the matter, the federal government denied the applicant's allegations, stressing that the properties being claimed by Dasuki were subjects of ongoing criminal proceedings, which he did not disclose in the suit. The respondents' counsel had argued that the government had already fulfilled its obligations, saying that the court's chief registrar had issued a writ of execution, making the relief prayed for by the applicant unnecessary. The panel, which comprised Justice Edward Ashante, presiding, Justice Segun Kuruma, Judge Rapporteur, and Justice Ricardo Claudio Gonzalez, member, awarded no costs to parties in the suit. The federal government has threatened to sue hospitals that declined to treat patients rushed in for emergency treatment. The Minister of Women Affairs, Uju Kennedy Hoaneye, issued the warning on Sunday at the Unlock Grants Award in Abuja. Earlier this year, the Federal Ministry of Health was given a mandate by the House of Representatives to take firm action against hospitals and healthcare facilities that refuse to treat accident or gunshot victims without first obtaining a police report. Kennedy Hoaneye, however, said that federal government hospitals would henceforth be required to place signs outside their doors that reads, "No more rejection of emergency patients." The minister who commended Nigerians for the way they are using social media to tackle issues assured that government would continue to tackle main issues as they arise. The Nigerian Air Force says the air component of Operation Delta Safe successfully destroyed 2 illegal refining sites situated along the banks of Imo River. The Director of Public Relations and Information for the Nigerian Air Force, Edward Gapkwek, said in a statement on Sunday in Abuja that the operation was carried out on Saturday. Gapkwek said a strike was conducted barely hours after the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, had discussions with Governor Alex Otti of Abia on plans to set up NAF base in the state. He said the illegal sites located near Obiako and in close proximity to the Imo-Abia rivers borders consist of 2 tanks and a reservoir in one location and 3 tanks and 2 reservoirs in another location along the Imo River bank. He explained that building on the current successes, the air operations under Operation Delta Safe will be intensified, especially within the areas of interest, as part of efforts to curtail the activities of criminal elements. Gapquek said the ongoing operations underscored the commitment of the Nigeria Air Force to maintain aerial dominance over the Nigerian skies in collaboration with surface forces for the safety and security of Nigerian citizens. Reps seek 6-year tenure for presidency. Fuel and foods take large chunk of Nigeria's 12 trillion naira import bill. Join us after the break. A group of lawmakers in the House of Representatives are seeking alterations to the 1999 Constitution to pave the way for the rotation of the presidency among the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. They also want an amendment to the Constitution to provide for a single tenure of 6 years for the President and Governors of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Speaking on behalf of a group in Abuja on Monday, the member representing Idato South, Idato North Federal Constituency, Imo State, Ikenga Ugochinyere, said a single term of 6 years for the President and Governors will go a long way in cutting costs. He said concerted efforts must be made to reduce government spending and wastage and ensure greater efficiency in governance as well as national stability. The National Board for Technical Education, NBTE, has introduced a mandatory skills qualification MSQ as a graduation requirement for all newly reviewed National Diploma ND and Higher National Diploma HND curricula. A statement issued by the board's heads of media, Fatima Abubakar in Abuja on Monday, said the introduction of the program is in line with global trends, especially as skill acquisition is now central to the training of young Nigerians in polytechnics. Abubakar explained that diploma holders will now graduate with a National Skills Qualification NSQ or its equivalent as an additional certification that must be attained before graduation. According to her, it focuses on vocational skills and is typically obtained through vocational training programs, apprenticeships, and assessments conducted by approved skill assessment bodies. She said the dual certification of obtaining both an NSQ and an ND in Nigeria offers several benefits, including a comprehensive skill set, increased employability, versatility, professional recognition, and career progression. The Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, has advised motorists against excessive speeding, especially during the Salah celebration, to minimize crashes. The Ogun Sector Commander, Anthony Uga, who gave the advice in an interview with the News Agency of Nigeria at Ota on Monday, employed motorists in the state to be more safety cautious during the period as the volume of traffic would automatically increase. Uga further enjoined motorists to strictly obey traffic rules and regulations to prevent unnecessary loss of life and to check their vehicle tires, ensure that their wipers were effective, and remember that it is rainy season. He also warned the drivers against driving when drunk and wrongful overtaking to reduce mishaps during the period and beyond. Muslim faithful are expected to celebrate Salah across the country on June 16th. Troops of the Nigerian army successfully thwarted a kidnap attempt by a suspected terrorist group along the Ughelli-Patani Road in Delta on Sunday. The Nigerian army, through a distress call, resulted in the rescue of passengers who had been kidnapped while traveling in a commercial bus. It said the troops, upon receiving the distress call, rapidly mobilized and confronted the terrorists who were armed with assorted weapons. According to the Post, a fierce firefight ensued, compelling the terrorists to abandon their captives and flee the scene. The Post added that the rescued passengers have been taken into safe custody where they are receiving necessary care and support, while the troops are currently pursuing the fleeing terrorists. Refined petroleum products and agricultural food imports constituted the major items imported into the country in the first quarter of 2024. The National Bureau of Statistics in a new report revealed that total imports for the first quarter of 2024 stood at 12.64 trillion naira, representing a 39.65% increase from 9.05 trillion naira in the fourth quarter of 2023 and a 95.53% rise from 6.47 trillion naira in the first quarter of 2023. The NBS data further showed that the import of raw materials by manufacturers gulped 1.5 trillion naira, while citizens spent 920.54 billion naira to bring in agricultural goods. According to the data, China was Nigeria's top trading partner on the import side, contributing 23.18% to the total import, while other significant import partners include India, 8.46%, and the United States, 7.98%, Belgium, 7.56%, and Netherlands, 4.68%. Key imported commodities included motor spirit, ordinary, gas, oil, durum, wheat, cane, sugar, meant for sugar refinery, and other liquefied petroleum gases. A local resident in Walton, Gaza, has made impassionate plea for the restoration of peace as she provided a chilling account of Saturday's devastating Israeli military strike on a refugee camp in central Gaza that killed over 270 Palestinians. According to a press statement from Hamas-run health authorities on Sunday, the death toll from the operation in the Nuseirat refugee camp has risen to 274, with 698 injured. The statement also noted some victims remain under the rubble amid heavy bombardment and lack of rescue crews. During the operation, Israeli forces rescued 4 hostages from the refugee camp, all of them among the 250 Israelis abducted last October by Hamas while attending the Nova Festival, an outdoor music event in a rural area near the Gaza-Israeli fence. In an interview on Sunday, former English teacher named Monirat recounted the indiscriminate bombings and airstrikes that ripped through Nuseirat, leaving behind a trail of destruction and chaos.
Gaza is full of endless sadness, endless sadness. You don't know the miserable situation that we live in since the 7th of October. No electricity, no good water. Our daily needs, you cannot even get them. I wanted all the people know that Palestinian people are against bloodshed. I myself, I am against bloodshed, even in their side, in the Israeli side, or on our side. I hate seeing blood. I hate to see any people, any person who cry from pain. We have hearts. We are a human being. We want peace to be all over the area, and nobody. I do not want to see a tear from any person, even Muslim, Christian origin. I hope that a human person, a human leaders will interfere to cease fire soon, because you don't know.
She emphasized that Palestinians are opposed to bloodshed and expressed her earnest desire for peace to prevail in the region, transcending religious and ethnic boundaries. Munira appealed to international leaders to urgently intervene and broker a ceasefire and bemoaned the devastating reality faced by the people of Gaza, where the absence of safety has shattered all their hopes and dreams. United States Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said on Monday, as he left Cairo for Israel, that he was urging leaders in the region to press Hamas to say yes to a ceasefire proposal to halt fighting in Gaza. Blinken said Hamas was the only outlier in not accepting the proposal for a three-phase deal involving the release of hostages and talks towards an end to fighting, to which he said Israel had agreed.
The terrible suffering of Palestinians in Gaza. Press Hamas to say yes. If you want to get all the hostages home, press Hamas to say yes. If you want to put Israelis and Palestinians alike on the path to more durable peace and security.
Blinken had met with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi earlier on Monday. Israel is pressing on with assaults in central and southern Gaza, while Hamas has called on Washington to pressure Israel to halt the fighting. The war has now entered its ninth month since Hamas-led fighters killed 1,200 people and took some 250 others hostage in a rampage through southern Israel. In response, Israel launched an assault on the Gaza Strip that has killed more than 37,000 Palestinians and reduced most of the enclave to wasteland. Narendra Modi began his first day as India's Prime Minister for a third consecutive term in New Delhi on Monday. Videos from India's Prime Minister's office showed Modi walking through corridors of South Block, which houses the Prime Minister's office and key Indian ministries, greeting officials with folded hands before signing the first set of official documents on his first day as Prime Minister. Modi was sworn in as Prime Minister on Sunday, June 9th, after a shock election setback that will test his ability to ensure policy certainty in a coalition government in the world's most populous nation. Modi secured a third term after a multi-stage election that concluded on June 1st with the support of 14 regional parties in his BJP-led National Democratic Alliance. His party had won an outright majority in the previous two terms. South Korea and the United States are working to adopt joint guidelines on Monday aimed at better coordinating an allied nuclear response during a potential war with North Korea. Senior defense officials from both sides held the third nuclear consultative group NCG talks in Seoul, designed to follow up on last year's summit, during which the United States promised to give South Korea more insight into its nuclear planning for conflict with the North. A joint statement said that both sides reviewed draft guidelines during the meeting, which laid out the principles and procedures for maintaining and enhancing a credible and effective nuclear defense deterrence policy and posture. Vipin Narang, acting U.S. Assistant Secretary of Defense for Space Policy, who co-chaired the talks, said the guidelines set up an architecture for how the allies integrate conventional and nuclear capabilities, which will be ultimately provided to leadership in a crisis. The talks came as North Korea races ahead to advance its nuclear weapons and their delivery systems, which triggered questions in South Korea about its reliance on extended deterrence. The Week 35 star match of the Nigeria Premier Football League between Rangers International of Enugu and Enyimba of Aba was abandoned after the visitors worked out of Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium venue of the match. The Enyimba team abandoned the match after Rangers was awarded a penalty in the 107th minute of play while the match was still goalless. Enyimba's players protested vehemently after Rangers was awarded a penalty in the 9 minutes of the extra time. And when the centre referee stood his ground, Stage walked out of the pitch and refused to come back to continue play. After waiting for Enyimba players to return to the pitch, the referee positioned the ball at a spot, only for some fans at the stand, suspected to be Enyimba fans, to start throwing objects into the field. The referee and the Rangers players became afraid and ran for safety, while missiles continued to fly into the pitch. 25,000 capacity stadium, which was filled with about 40,000 spectators, went into chaos until security operatives on the ground brought the situation under control. And elsewhere, at the Ondo Sports Complex, Akure, the Sunshine Stars FC of Akure defeated fellow strugglers Akwa United 2-0 in another match day 35 encounter of the Nigeria Premier Football League. The match was a push for survival in the league for both teams, as Lucky Wanfo and Ibrahim Yusuf did the job for the hosts in the second half after the first half ended goalless. Boboye's introduction of young sensation Chinedu Mosu in the 73rd minute did the magic, as Lucky Wanfo was lucky to give the home team an opener in the 74th minute, with substitute Yusuf Ibrahim scoring from a close-range free kick to make it 2-0 to put the game beyond the visitors. Akwa United's head coach Mohamed Babanganuru said the game was a disappointing one for his side as they failed to pick the needed points. Captain Harry Kane said on Monday that England will look at where they need to improve after their defeat to Iceland on Friday. England suffered a surprise 1-0 defeat in their final warm-up match before heading to the Euros in Germany. Bayern Munich forward Kane struggled with a back injury towards the end of the season, but returned to play in England's win over Bosnia and Herzegovina last week and a loss to Iceland on Friday. Speaking as England prepared to head off to their German training camp, Kane said the players' morale was still good, but they would look at the defeat and see where they can improve. Kane was speaking at England's home base in Burton-on-Trent, alongside Prince William, visited the players to show his support for the team. England begins their Euro 2024 campaign on June 16th against Serbia in Group C. That's the news this hour. I am Barikumo Ado. Thanks for joining us.